In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
All right, welcome back. It is official. Former President Donald Trump announcing he is running for president again in 2024 while facing multiple investigations, one in New York, one in Florida, and the allegation that Trump was illegally storing classified documents at Mar-a-Lago, which ultimately led to the August 8th raid on the same home where he made that announcement that you just saw last night. Joining me now for reaction is former acting U.S. Attorney General Matthew Whitaker and former principal deputy press secretary at the White House, Hogan Gidley. Great to have you both on. It's an exciting morning for Trump supporters. They've been waiting for this, I think, for the last 2 years. Matt, I want to start with you. What does the Justice Department do now that Donald Trump is officially a candidate for president again? Would they go so far as to indict a presidential candidate?
Well, it puts them in a very awkward position, and it's good to be with you this morning. What I see the Department of Justice doing is continuing with its investigation. However, I do think because the president has announced that this puts it in a different category of cases, I think it enhances most likely the charging decision and the level of evidence they're going to require to bring this case. I've never thought that they're going to actually charge a criminal case. This was really all about the documents and possession of the documents. So at the end of the day, I don't think this presidential announcement affects this case much because I don't think ultimately it is a criminal case at all.
Hogan, we've got 720 days until 2024. So Donald Trump, we think, becoming the earliest to ever announce that he's running for president. What'd you make of the announcement last night? The speech lasted an hour and 8 minutes, and he seemed like he was focused on the future and not the past.
He did, and he talked about bringing the country together, largely around the policies that put the American people first. I mean, that's what made him successful in his first term. That's how we were able to achieve record-setting success and record-setting time, because what he did was he stood up and said, I'm going to stand in the gap for you, the American people. I'll take the slings and arrows on behalf of you. You've been kicked in the teeth for too long. You've been ignored too long by your elites, by the government. I'm going to step in and say, no, we're going to focus on you guys for a while now. And largely the American people like that message and they like the policy. I mean, go back and look at the midterms just now. Everyone's still focused on crime and they focused on the economy. They focused on the border. The American people largely care about those issues and those policy prescriptions that Donald Trump actually did get implemented. And he talked about doing that again, bringing us back to the greatness we have lost in the last 2 years, striking the right tone last night. A really good speech.
Yeah, this could change, but last night felt like 2016. It had that feel to me, not so much 2020. Matt, are we looking at a possible special counsel here? How can Merrick Garland now run these investigations, possibly charge, possibly indict somebody who's running for president? And Joe Biden is clearly, if that happens, you could say it's politically motivated because Joe Biden is his chief competition in 2024.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to look carefully at the regulations at the Department of Justice for a special counsel. But if they're not appointing a special counsel for Hunter Biden and all the mess that he is in, I can't imagine that they're going to appoint a special counsel for Donald Trump because the standard is essentially a conflict that is so great that they can't overcome it by any means or methods that are known, and whether it's walling off people or whether it's other investigative techniques to keep the investigative team protected from politics. But this is where Merrick Garland, I think, has failed, and the confidence in Merrick Garland is not there in the Department of Justice is because they appear to be playing politics, both in not charging Hunter Biden and at the same time, going full bore against Donald Trump. I think there's a lot of questions that should be raised about Merrick Garland's judgment.
Yeah, not to mention that Joe Biden literally campaigned on having a nonpartisan Justice Department with Merrick Garland in charge. Hogan, take us through the next 720 days. How does Donald Trump approach this campaign? Most campaigns last, the average is 531 days. So Donald Trump's going to be a candidate for a long time.
Yeah, he sure is. And look, I know a lot of folks are going to try to focus somewhat on the political infighting, what it means for DeSantis, what it means for other folks. And I said on Newsmax last night, it still comes back to the principle from that great philosopher, the nature boy, Ric Flair. To be the man, you got to beat the man. And Donald Trump's the man. And if he focuses like he did last night on the American people, and he continues to make this campaign about bringing this country back to the historic highs that we achieved under his leadership, it's going to be tough to beat that man, because the American people are clamoring for someone that hears their voice and then can stand up on behalf of their wants and desires and needs. Donald Trump did that the first time. He's talking about doing it again. I know the man personally. I talk to him all the time. I got to tell you, if anyone can stand up in this difficult time in this country and protect American people, it's him. And I think he can do it.
Yeah. Matt, just your response to what Hogan had to say. It does seem like after 8 days of kind of bad press where everybody is piled on Donald Trump, he sort of flipped the narrative a little bit last night.
You know, he did, and I don't have any famous wrestlers quote to match his.
You did go to Iowa, though.
I did. And I was thinking what Cable said, but he said if, a referee's going to decide the outcome of a match, you deserve to lose. But, probably not applicable in this situation, because ultimately, I think this is about a vision for America. And what we saw last night from Donald Trump, having been in the room, is, we heard not only what the challenges we face currently and are going to face going forward, including the threat from China, but really strong ideas and plans going forward to address those challenges. So I thought it was, it was a great night, and I thought it really framed the 2024 presidential election, both in the primary and especially in the general election. I'm
only going to ask you once, Matt, and I won't ask you again for 2 years, I promise. But if Trump did win in 2024 and he asked you to serve as Attorney General again, would you do it?
In my experience, anytime a president of the United States asks you to do something, you salute the flag and you serve your country. At the same time, nobody's asking me that right now, so we'll reserve that for the future.
Hogan, same question to you, and I'll add to that in about 15 seconds if you could. Do you think Ivanka and Jared return to the White House if Trump is elected in 2 years? I know the answer is no now, but we know that's going to change.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to parrot Matt's response too. And ask to serve, you should probably do it. But at the same time, I know Jared and Ivanka pretty well. Look, I don't know, but I know this. During the time in the White House when we faced some pretty serious problems, they stood up and helped out in a way that I don't think many in the public sector ever were able to do. I'm really kind of in awe of some of the things they were able to achieve. So hopefully if he gets back in, that they can help out in some way.
All right. Day one is underway. Matthew Whitaker, Hogan Gidley, thanks so much for breaking it down for us.
2 years to go, Rob.
720 days, but who's counting, right? All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.